God.
Oh.
The moment I hit record, everybody stops talking.
Okay, you gotta, like, alert them.
Oh,
Stop being entertaining and wait for the record.
I forgot that I didn't care.
Wow. Hello
We weren't being
to the internet.
Good thing we're always entertaining.
Yeah. Yep.
Are we doing like an intro, like the title thing?
What
You're
the
an intro.
the hell are you talking about?
You stop.
Ooh. Hi. What are we calling this?
I don't care. The podcast nobody listens to.
This is
Episode 2.
Yeah.
Welcome to your tape.
Yeah, this is.
They know. The fans know what the podcast name is. They just need to know what part of our.
There are no fans.
Nobody listens to this.
I'm talking about stealing fans.
Oh, of course. My mistake.
Desk fans, the ceiling fans. Fans have feelings too.
I don't have any fans in this room, actually.
That's because you're poor.
I've got a desk fan.
You're right.
Ian, please, would you please stop drabbing up the place with your poorness?
Hey, I have AirPods, so.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, I take that back, sir. We are unworthy.
Yeah, how about you suck on my
Please
dick?
harder so I can tell people of your fame.
So I have a few questions for all you guys, all two
Slap
of you.
me with it.
Okay. When you are
Wait.
old,
Okay. No, go ahead. I'll save it.
just tell me. When you are old, what do you think children will ask you to tell stories about?
Probably still college.
You need to answer this question.
I do.
Yeah, because I don't think my answers will be. Wait, I don't fucking care. They'll ask about my. I really don't have anything entertaining to tell.
Well, we're really full of energy tonight. fellas.
And it only
We're
took
really
you like 3
bringing it.
hours to hit the record button, guy.
That's true.
Ugh.
You.
You
I
guys,
gotta scroll up in the chat because these gifs playing over and over again is killing me. Like, it's really unsettling.
Just a lagging wiener and alcoholism.
Which sounds really bad out of context.
It's where everyone's life ends up eventually.
Okay, wait. Okay, what I was gonna ask before, did you guys remember the original Dumbo movie, like the elephant?
I didn't watch it. Like
Sort
the
of.
animated one?
Yeah.
No, I did not watch it.
Tanner, did you?
I remember snippets of it.
Okay, there's one specific scene that I was reminded of the other day. That's called "Pink Elephants on Parade," and I genuinely think that the artists were on every drug in existence when they made this, because it's fucking terrifying.
Anything that's made with alliteration, the creators were on drugs.
Alliteration.
That's
Pink.
a really broad claim. The only two P's in that are pink and parade.
Yeah, that's more than one, idiot.
Oh my God.
There's like a chorus singing in the background, and they have just the right amount of dissonance to where it's super unsettling. And the animation is just really, I genuinely can't explain it. It's kind of hard. Yeah, it's really hard to explain.
So like it's just a bunch of crazy shit happening.
Yeah, well, it's like elephant themed. So there's one part in particular where there are a bunch of like Technicolor elephant heads, like forming like a body, like a sword, you know?
Oh.
And it's just walking at the camera, and for some reason the elephants all look super threatening, and like they're about to do some Ted Bundy shit to your body.
And there's no discernible reason for this happening?
Absolutely not. I don't remember the context of the film, but I read somewhere that pink elephants, like seeing pink elephants, is it's like a aphorism for being drunk. Like he's seeing pink elephants.
Oh. Is he drugged?
So, my friend Lauren said that he was on ecstasy.
What?
But I don't think they would put that in the movie. Somebody's mic is giving feedback, by the way. It's you, Mitch.
I don't know how to change that.
Get better headphones. Do you have headphones in?
No.
Oh,
Dumbass.
God, this is annoying.
Put headphones in.
Hold on.
Man.
Don't you get snippy with me.
What did we say we were going to talk about this time?
So, this episode, we've gotten many requests from nobody at all to talk
Nobody.
about Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, well, that was my request, actually, I remember.
Like I said, from nobody at
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
Got a
Fred,
request from the ether?
you mispronounced my name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you, nobody who's...
For those of you who have a life.
Yeah, exactly. Is a tabletop role-playing game, typically set in a fantasy world.
I mean, it doesn't have to be on a table.
You could do it.
It's a TTRPG, tabletop RPG. That's literally just what it is.
I mean, you could roleplay anywhere.
Yeah, you could do it,
Yeah,
or
but-
you could do it like
Yeah, but
in like
D&D in general, it's described as a tabletop RPG because that's what it's designed.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could roleplay in the bedroom,
You can.
in the attic,
That's not what it's made for.
in the closet, in the bathroom.
Fine, it'll
Dude,
be
I
a
love
BRPG.
roleplaying in
a
the
bathroom
bedroom.
RPG.
I just hate having to create 3-hour character sheets just to roleplay and spice up a romantic relationship.
Play Matchmaker the entire summer. Yeah.
Hey, you want to spice things up tonight? Yeah. Okay, I'll get the paper.
Let me light the
I'll get the
candles.
sheets.
Dude, I've been trying to convert my ensemble into playing D&D, and it really just hasn't been working. And I just think it's the perfect hobby for actors. Like, genuinely, that is what I think.
Besides having a social.
No, actors don't have social lives.
I disagree with that statement, but also,
Except with each other's. Like, each other's.
Each other's.
Each other's. Each other's,
I mean, even with that addition, I still disagree with the statement.
It's a hyperbole, Tanner.
Oh.
You can't use big words like that.
Listen, you shut me down with that big word. I don't know what to say now. But
I'd be genuinely disappointed if you don't know what hyperbole.
no, you're exaggerating highly because of a large butterfly or something. But
Close enough.
I was thinking about that either earlier today or the other day. So the week is running together, but I think it's really there is no storytelling medium quite like it, where you get together and you create a story just for fun.
It's a shared experience too. It's like it's not as personal as a lot of things are, but at the same time, way more personal.
Yeah, it's very social and at the same time
Yeah.
revealing and very
Yeah.
fun.
How much you play with
Yeah.
Sean?
I'd venture to say that D&D is how we got close to each other as a friend group. To be honest.
Yeah, because outside of that, we were just fucking worthless.
Doing circle jerks and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, just boring
we wouldn't
shit.
make eye contact, and it'd be weird, and like one of us would reach the point, and then we're like, oh, we just have to wait on the other ones.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of boring. But then we started playing
Yeah.
D&D and the circle jerks got a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it's like we actually cared about each other's like feelings, and we actually like waited for each other at the gas station.
Yeah. What?
What is? That sounds like a really specific scenario that I'm not.
Okay, this guy.
Oh, you lost me.
Yeah, the ladies guys.
What the fuck? Are you hearing that, Tanner?
Yeah, Mitch, you're turning into
You're
Optimus
looping.
Prime.
What?
Your voice is like looping on itself.
What?
It's not doing it anymore. I don't know what's up with that. There it goes. Try disconnecting and connecting again, please.
You're...
Okay, speak.
Oh,
No, it's still happening. What the hell?
You're making me uncomfortable.
oh, we're having some technical difficulties.
That's okay. Nobody's listening to this.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. Yes. So I don't. How about this, Tanner? Give me your top 3 moments in a D&D campaign.
Oh, as a DM or as a player?
Both. Any.
For nobody listening, a DM is a dungeon master. He's the person that, I don't know, fills in the gaps for the game, leads the game.
He or she?
No, it can only be male.
Listen, if you wanna entertainment
Um,
merchandise, like if you want like a form like an entertainment that doesn't discriminate based on sex, go watch Weak Legs.
Subscribe to Weak Legs on
Selfless
YouTube.
plug.
Opportunity over on Weak. We don't discriminate.
That's really awful.
You'll,
I mean, not your channel, but like the looping that your voice is still doing.
yeah.
It's okay. It'll add some.
That's because headphones I'm wearing mic on them. Lol.
Jesus Christ. It sounds like you're glitching. Like I can see your face moving around.
For those of you who don't know me, I am not sexist at all whatsoever.
That's not true.
If I have to say it, you know it's true.
Well, it's true. You cut out for a second.
I am. You know what? No. I'm not a
You
sexist.
can say how you really feel.
I'm not a sexist, man. And for those of you who didn't
Also,
know,
you're a liar.
for nobody. Oh God, you got me. But out of
No, these batteries.
what the hell?
Okay. Are we still doing the? Nobody answered my question.
Yeah,
What's your question?
I'm trying to answer the question, but Mitch, you gotta get headphones or something.
Yeah,
Hold on.
it's looping back again.
Hold on. I'm struggling, so fuck off.
Just grab a. Just grab a pair of like Apple headphones or something. Like, do you? I've seen you. Oh.
Use the microphone you stream on. He didn't like that I was using Logic.
It confuses him when you use Logic. You can't do that.
It's like
logic.
it's like that meme that's like, why can't you just be normal? Screams.
Fuck.
Okay, while he's figuring that out, I'm gonna answer the question.
Now, is it bad? Does it please you?
Oh God, that's fucking worse.
I'm terrified.
Do you want to like restart your computer or something?
Hello. Mitchy boy.
Well, I can't believe Mitch is fucking dead. Okay, he logged out.
Oh my God.
What? No, he's back.
Weak legs.
Mitch,
I'm going to get batteries. Fuck you guys.
what did you need batteries for?
Okay.
Cool. Okay, Tanner, answer the question.
So as a DM and a player, you said?
Yeah.
There have been, I DM'd a campaign over the past year, starting in the spring. Actually, like, a little over a year ago, and we finished it over Christmas break. And there were a lot of thank you.
I wanted the world to know that I was a part.
Yeah, Ian was a part of it. Mitch was a part of it. It was very fun because it was the music choices were centered around character moments or like cinematic moments, trying to just make cool stuff happen. And definitely I'm gonna say a lot of moments from that game as the DM, especially with the music choices. We used modern music. 80s rock was mainly used.
You used a blend, I think.
Used what?
Modern and fantasy.
Yeah, it was a good blend of this stuff. So
I really enjoyed that personally. I liked it a lot. The atmosphere set was really cool.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. I wanted to make sure that was consistent, but it did bring forth a lot of really awesome moments. One specifically, I keep going back to is when Red Mist, definitely.
Yeah.
We didn't use modern music for this.
We don't have to like get the whole background on it.
just like there's a moment when
describe what was happening.
there was a very trippy moment when Red Mist started to flow out from this dwarven cave, and it was our second session with this campaign, and I didn't know if it was second or third, and I didn't know if it was gonna go anywhere, but the music just like slammed, and I had planned none of it, but the music, like I'd say something dramatic and the music would hit, and it just came out of, I don't know, a freaking movie. But that was a good moment.
Yeah, it was like a horror movie essentially, and Mitch, his character, and him as a person were so affected by it that. Can I share this, Mitch? Do you care?
Fuck you.
I want to hear Mitch talk about it.
What, dude? We're not even 20 minutes in, and you're already pissed at me.
No, that's just how I usually am.
Oh, okay.
Mitch, can you please share your experience with this campaign?
I want to hear Ian describe it first.
Oh, okay.
I just don't want, like... Okay, yeah. So, after,
I don't
most
care.
people... Yeah, you were right. Most people had left. That scene where his character basically just was haunted by his past and by the present. And the Dwarven King was assassinated, and many things had happened. Mitch was so affected that when we tried to leave his house, he begged us to stay, because he kept seeing the visage of the big bad evil guy, or the BBEG, as we call it, outside his windows. And honestly, perfectly understandable. I didn't get that much of an effect to it because my character, his biggest moment in that session was a speech that I pulled out of my ass. It was a very good speech, though. At least I think. Was it?
I remembered one
Been
line.
good if you hadn't have stolen it from Game of Thrones.
I didn't steal it. I did not steal it. I legitimately had not seen Game of Thrones when we started that campaign.
For the record, Ian said that he was on the side of the living. And I think that's a line Jon Snow has.
It's not an exact line, but it's just the concept of the speech where it's like, oh, the dead are coming and we have to,
And which is funny because the plot point was like a dead army is gonna rise, and I hadn't seen Game of Thrones by the time I had said that. Like I started watching Game of Thrones just a month ago.
Or this winter. I'm confusing my breaks.
Yeah, this winter. So it was really, there were a lot of things this campaign had in common with Game of Thrones, and
yeah,
That's very.
A lot of things it had in common with Critical Role too. I told you guys about the similarities between Vex and Kane, right?
Yeah, you did tell us that.
Yeah, I'll tell the nobody who's. So my character in this campaign was a half-elf with a twin sister who was somehow involved in the Shadowfell. It really doesn't matter how. But there is also a very popular D&D podcast where a bunch of like video game and anime voice actors play D&D. And this one guy, Liam O'Brien, had this character, Vaxildan, who was a half-elf with a twin sister who was involved with the Shadowfell. And I also hadn't started watching Critical Role when I made Kane, so that was really odd.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That striking similarity. Was the sister also a player?
Who? Wait, who?
What was his name? Something Axe?
Max.
Max?
Vax?
Yeah, was he...
With a V.
With a
Yeah,
Vax.
Vax was a player. Liam played.
Was his
Vax.
sister a player as well, or was that just a character?
Vax was a player.
But was...
Vax and his twin sister Vex were both player characters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's all I was...
Yep.
Yes. And...
And my sister was a player character too, for a while.
yeah, she... I don't
That
know.
didn't really work out, but...
Did not work out at all.
Not to any fault of her. Caroline was all over the place.
No, she sucks.
Scheduling.
I'm kidding.
I love her to death. She was
I
bad at
didn't know
showing
we
it.
were lying.
Dude. Jesus.
Another favorite moment I had was when Kane and Rainer Merrick, who I don't even know how to like explain you two briefly, but like they were.
Yeah, that was his opening line.
Yeah, Rainer Merrick was a domestic terrorist.
But he was a terrorist for people.
A terrorist for the people. Yeah, he united the entire nation of Epicronia.
Correct.
For something. I don't know. He just wanted. He called himself the Prince of Ravens, and in order to defeat the Shadow Queen, I believe you had to turn into what was the
Arcane.
You had to turn into Arcane, which was, please describe Arcane, Ian.
A little bit of background. The first time my character Kane and Ryan's character Rainer met, the first thing Rainer Merrick did was kiss Kane right on the lip. And that was funny. That was such a funny moment. But when it came to the point where we were trying to overthrow this, essentially, like the god of... we, out of just like sheer desperation, Rainer Merrick kissed Kane again, and we fused into this gigantic raven-themed angel, essentially, whose sole purpose of existence was to punish the weak.
Right. And
He was just a massive lad.
Yes, he's massive. And at the end of the campaign, for the last session, the dead had risen, and it was billions of just a giant dead army, and they were marching over the living, trying to take over the world, destroy all living things, whatever. And as a last resort, well, not, as a kind of secret weapon, they decided to kiss on the battlefield once again. And the song Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys played while they transformed and started laser-eyeing across the battlefield and just kicking the shit out of the... Oh my god, it was awesome.
It was super cinematic. That whole campaign was just incredibly cinematic. I never said that, okay? Mitch thinks he's real funny.
Weak Legs just sent a picture. Mitch just sent a picture of his fucking face with the caption, "When Kane thinks he's the main character."
When did I never said that. And shave your damn face. You have a gross ass goatee.
Oh my gosh.
Fucking neck beard.
I think Ian was the least amount of problem when the character. You were.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name any names, but there was this other player in the campaign who joined late, and he was a paladin, and no, he was a paladin, and he had asked.
Dragonborn failing.
Could you stop fucking up your mic, please? Could you take it out of your mouth? But this paladin had asked me for the last campaign because he had been out for most of the sessions. He was like, "Hey, can I come in and just like, am I still going to be important to the campaign or what?" And I said, "Yeah, you."
He's allowed to fucking interrupt you.
You're still gonna be pretty much a part of the campaign. He was like, "Hey, can I listen? It seems like there's two villains here. Can I defeat the main bad guy while everyone else does something else?"
He essentially just said, "Can I become the main character?"
Yeah, he was like, "Can I dive in and be the main character?" And I was like, "I'll think of something. Yeah." And
Way of saying no to you asking a question.
well, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just a game, and it didn't matter that much to me. But like, what did matter is like you all are the main character, and you all needed to get an equal piece out of the pie, and I didn't want to just give the whole pie to this paladin, you know. And that's important because when the game isn't fun for somebody, it's fun for nobody. That
character didn't deserve it either.
No, I don't think that character was.
Like no offense to the player at all, and the character he built was interesting, but it was that he was just like a green monastery kid that just like decided to suddenly become badass out of nowhere.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
I can relate this to something most people will understand. So imagine the Avengers and how Hawkeye is so cool, and he's like not important for like any of the other 13 movies that happen after Avengers.
Oh my god.
Imagine if he come back in Infinity War, he just fucking kicks Thanos out of nowhere. He's hiding behind a tree the whole time, and he was not in the movie at all until he fires that arrow behind a tree. That's basically what this player was trying to do to us. He was trying to be hero day without being there.
Yeah.
That's very hurtful to the Hawkeye lovers. Hawkeye gets no love, and I don't respect it. So that was a very poor message. So I apologize for disrespecting Hawkeye.
That's okay. Nobody understands. But yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was great though.
One final thing. I loved the. I loved being a DM so much because the creativity and the questions that all the players think of. Are you eating right now?
No, I'm taking Advil.
Oh, okay.
My head is killing.
Like you were eating a pie.
Me talking for so long is giving you a fucking headache.
It's Mitch's voice. I can't handle it. Are those tears I hear? Fucking bitch.
Why have the gods forsaken me?
The MacGuffin was fun. I'll say that. Because the paladin in the end, he ended up with a circlet that could change a character's alignment without any DC or anything, and it only had like a one-time use, and he decided to use it on the God of Destruction. So the God of Destruction had all the intent to destroy the world, but no, only the ability to destroy the entirety of the universe, but none of the intent to. So he just went insane. and that was
Yep.
how the villain was defeated. And it was
All bark, no bite.
all what?
All bark, no bite.
All bark, no bite. That's right.
Essentially, yeah. Or actually, no, it's more like no bark and all bite. Sort of.
He didn't destroy the world.
I know, but he still had the ability to.
So all bark and no.
It's like that kid in like 7th grade. He's like, I took karate and I would kick your ass if you put fucking.
If not for the laws of this land, I would have slaughtered.
You're talking to a future U.S. Army soldier.
Oh my god!
No. It's you're disrespecting a future U.S. Army soldier.
Oh no.
Okay, I was telling my friends this earlier. 2 of my closest friends that I think of like brothers joined the Marines this past summer, and they are full-on Marines. And the problem was when they decided to start going into the Marines, I still hung around them, and I don't know if you know this about the military, but every branch makes fun of the other branch, like constantly.
You defend America, fucking nerd.
But it's like the Marines are probably the worst shit of them. And so they were just like shit talking the other branches, and they basically just like hypnotized me into thinking the same. And my favorite thing ever is when they call. Obviously, no disrespect to any of the soldiers, because God bless them.
None of them are listening,
Yeah.
but
You're right. But they would always call the Air Force the Chair Force.
that's okay. That's pretty good.
You guys sit in chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Suck it.
You sit down more often.
Also, one of my Marine friends is texting me right now, freaking out. When he was gone at boot camp, Young Gravy made like a bunch of new music that he didn't know about, and now he's freaking out over it.
I don't listen to Young Gravy, but I.
You wouldn't like Young Gravy.
Is he? What is Young Gravy? What is this?
Nobody really. I don't think anybody really likes Young Gravy. They just listen to him because it's just he's a jokester. He's a gooster. He's a gaffster.
Oh, so it's for the yucks.
Yeah, basically, because he's just like a super white blonde dude who raps. He's a rapper. And yeah, you've probably heard one of his most popular songs, One Thought, Two Thought, Red Thought, Blue Thought.
I can't imagine that I have. I think I would remember a song titled that
it's
way.
a unique experience. He's quite a thing. What is your third moment, Tanner?
I think I talked. Well, the MacGuffin. I loved the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
It's less. Okay. As a player, I had this character who was recurring. His name was Jack Orkman, and he was an orc, obviously, who was married. And like, if you talked about his wife, he would go into rage mode. Like, no matter what you mention his wife, he is raging, and. And there's a joke we have where I forget how it originated, but
somebody like said that Jack Gortman had just like a massive cock,
which is true.
Just huge.
Like, it's arm length, and as a joke during the game, I pulled out my arm, like, from under the table, like I was pulling it out of my pants, and I slammed it on the table. And I don't know, cups fell over, candles went out. It was a massacre. I think I was trading I was bartering or something.
I remember the first time you did that because I created a character that would just like rely on bouncing off of other people, and I bounced off of Jack Orkman a lot.
Yeah.
Because his replies and his like conversation starters were so simple. It was so easy to jump off of.
But Tanner, I thought that started in the campaign.
Okay,
with
I was talking.
Hey, it's related.
What was that,
Tanner,
Ian?
the whole dick slamming joke happened in Trevor's campaign.
Yes, it did. Jack Orkman was used for multiple campaigns, which unintentionally like joins the lore of every world he's ever played in. So like, and he survived the dimensional apocalypse in the campaign
Really?
we just
Holy shit.
the campaign we just finished. Yeah, so like, he's very likely to be an immortal being, but his one goal is to get south.
That's where his family is. I feel like, or that's where his family isn't.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even think he knows.
Yeah, Jack Orkman.
He just knows he needs to get south.
He's just so.
I want to continue my story.
Okay, Mitch,
it.
please continue.
So, the first time that I remember the second stick on the table, we were negotiating with we were negotiating information, and I was doing a fairly average getting information, and so Jack Workman decides enough is, and he takes out his ginormous friendly neighborhood penis and slams it on the table and doesn't say anything. And we get the information.
Yeah.
Mitch,
What
I'm
a
having trouble
character.
hearing you.
What?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, you were cutting out throughout all of that, but
And
Yeah.
okay, Ian, tell me your 3 favorite D&D moments.
Yeah, and
these I will. These I don't think mine are really ranked necessarily. They're just some of my favorite things that have happened.
they're great. Ian, tell us.
I'm going to.
Great.
Mitch,
Anyway.
but while he's doing this, can you get closer to your... Mitch, while he's doing this, can you get closer to your Wi-Fi router, please?
I'm really right next to it.
Oh my god. Too much Wi-Fi. Makes you die fast.
Basically, the very first one was a campaign that we... When did we start Wild Sphere, Mitch?
When did
Spring
you
break.
start it?
It was spring break of 2018.
No.
You sure?
Yes.
When was it? When did we start it?
Pretty sure it was during the summer.
No, I don't think so. I think y'all started over spring break, and then I joined over the summer.
That sounds correct.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yeah, so, I joined in late to that campaign. Patrick, the DM, was asking me, like, how I wanted to contribute, and he said that the party was kind of all, like, they kind of all, like, linked arms and just kind of, like, hopped through the fields and really just didn't have any internal conflict at all. So our strategy was to fix that. With my character, who fit into his lore as like a prince who was lost at sea and befriended the pirates, basically saved him, but then put him in chains, and then he essentially just joined their crew through using his charisma.
Wow.
There was like a whole sequence where I joined in. I had the appearance of like an old guy who was searching for revenge on the captain of the ship. But I led the party to the ship, took them below decks, whistled, and all of the pirates immediately seized them. I tore off the robe and revealed myself to be the Prince of Superia, and it was just a great moment because the looks on their faces were fucking priceless. Because they really didn't like the plan at all, from what I remember.
You were the rightful prince of Superia.
What?
You were the rightful prince, not the current prince.
Yeah. Well, no, I was...
You were the rightful prince, but you were not the king. The king
Assistant.
was your younger brother.
Assistant to the regional prince.
Exactly.
He was the hand of the hand of the hand of the king.
But essentially what it was is that, like, they were gathering these gems, and I said, hey, I'm looking for the gems too, and you're gonna help me find them, or else we're gonna skin you alive.
Were you really looking for the gems, or were you just bullshit?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, we were looking for the gems, because we were like, dude, you can turn into animals? That's...
My character had no idea what was going on, but he reeled it.
I remember when I was part of this
fucking
campaign.
Because
So much fun.
I was texting Patrick, the DM, throughout all of that. And
Yes.
I just texted him now,
Perfect.
and that happened. And that was great. The second one, it's probably the Vrock fight.
I forgot about that.
You forgot about that? That was what made me like Kane.
There were just so many moments in that campaign. They were just like very heightened.
Yeah.
Oh, like the
Was that the first session?
Nothing
It was the
in that
first session.
fight. I literally sat
No,
down
none of you did.
cross-legged.
That's what made it great. It was because Kane was literally the only person fighting.
Oh, everyone else tried to fight, but they sucked. And
They
got pushed off. This happened on a mountain, and everyone got pushed off.
Yeah, so we were
I was
riding
like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
we were riding horses through the night, and all of
one
a
of you
sudden,
was riding a
like,
dire wolf.
Yeah,
I was true. Fuck you.
these like bird demons swooped down from the sky, and my character Kane, through a lot of spells, killed off waves and waves of them. Before he was taken by this like alpha of rock that was just beefier than the rest of them.
He was wearing a Supreme headband.
And so he was basically choked to unconsciousness and taken to the nest.
Can I add a side note?
Yeah.
There was a fun little scene where our DM Tanner, where we were being carried by these like stone bat-looking things, and we were being carried to this mountain, and Tanner was describing this serene landscape that was like a sunset with so many different colors over this mountain, and there was like there was 4 players, and three of us got the sun. I was like, one guy's almost dead.
Okay, wait. Say that one more time. 3 of you what?
3 of us get to it, and I was just like, oh, this guy is too bad for a guy.
I did not hear.
What he's saying is that he didn't get to see like the great view because he was fucking unconscious.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that Alpha of Rock dropped us off at the like Mother of Rock's nest. How tall was the Mother of Rock? Like how big?
I'd say, how tall is Arcane?
Yeah. So she was a bigot, but Kane, my character, through a lot of really good rolls and just a lot of combat and strategy, eventually blasted the fucker in half through magic, and essentially like snowboarded down the mountain on half of the demon. And when he got to the bottom, he took its claws, and then later in the campaign made a fucking sword out of them.
That was actually pretty badass.
So yeah, that was probably one of my top ones. And then I'm trying to think of one for when I was DM. Probably there were several moments in Ebonhead. I think maybe Do you think the fall of that one monastery town was more powerful? Do you think like the ritual where skeleton lord guy was summoned? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Recall for me the monastery town falling.
The monastery town, I don't remember the name of it, but that was where you met like the child wizard, and you like kept an eye on him for like 20 minutes to clear him and saw this guy.
Yeah, we just watched him for way too long.
And then the town was destroyed by giant obsidian pillars.
I think
that? I remember that.
Yeah, I think the city falling was pretty epic.
Yeah. I wanted to use lurking evil for the ritual summoning, but I noticed I used it for other.
Hold on, you cut out, Ian. What did you say?
I wanted to use lurking evil ritual scene, but I knew you guys would be like, "Oh, it's this."
Describe for nobody what lurking evil is.
Lurking evil was it's arguably the most how do I say this? Not well known, but it's the most impactful on our D&D group in general. The most impactful song that we've ever used. Because that scene we were describing earlier, character was going through some serious shit. That song was playing then. And then it played throughout that campaign anytime some serious, gross psychological shit was happening. And it fucked with our minds.
That song, totally honest to God, it gave me nightmares. Worst, ever.
Mm-hmm. It was fucking nuts.
There was genuine fear.
Yeah, it was terrifying. And that's why I didn't use it with you guys, to feel like I was trying to manufacture a feeling, like call on.
Don't tell me how to feel.
Exactly.
No one can use that song now because it's like, no, stop it. I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's literally it. But with you guys, I can't.
Yeah.
Stop. It's not working.
I will say there's a moment when that song was renewed for me, given it was in the campaign that it's branded for, but it
trademarked.
Yeah. but like Mitch's character had like a moment where he was like, he's the son of the god of destruction, and he was realizing his powers, and he decided, let's take Volak, who was the villain, and just destroy his body entirely. And so this music is playing that like fucked him up in the first place. And then I think the sound effects on YouTube, they were in a playlist for me, and right after it was this really fast, upbeat song that was just like dramatic, harmonic percussion.
I know what you're talking about. I remember.
Yeah, and this music just comes on in the background right after Mitch says this like badass line, and it like renews the song, and it turns the song into a ballad of the character's growth, and it was just like, oh my god, this cannot be any more like, you can't write this, Yeah. Sorry, I stepping on your line.
I really want to write that shit into a book, though. we talked about that with what I decided not to.
Patrick is actually writing the book. He's on page 57.
Of Epic... What?
Patrick.
Oh, Patrick is really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I think what it was, because I started writing like little bits for it, because I had written a lot before. But honestly, I'd feel better if Patrick wrote it, because he has all the notes, and it was his baby, so good for him. I'm just glad that that's being realized, because that was a fucking awesome story, and it deserves to be immortalized like that.
You're talking about...
Wide Sphere.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
Which I still think you should have been a guest in, and if you had brought Jack Orkman in, That would have been so funny.
I still have the character sheet if you guys are still playing.
No, we're not.
Did you finish
we
it?
actually finished. We finished the sequel.
Hey, Ian, since this is the I Don't Care podcast, can I say something?
Okay.
Based on the results of the sequel, I would have been fine. I would have just ended it after the first one.
Why did you say that?
Because as much as Patrick worked on it, I feel like he just gave it to us because we wanted it.
Yeah. A lot of it was. I talked to him about that, and he was like, I really like fan service because
It was really just
we were
fan
legitimately
service to like the main three that started the campaign, and for
Yeah,
me,
it
it was
was.
just kind of like, hey, one
yeah,
last
my
run
character
for the...
Frater Voss kind of got pushed to the side a little bit, but that wasn't Patrick's fault at all. That was more like everybody saw him as a kid, even though he was
literally a kid.
a year older than I am.
What?
Yeah, he was 19.
I thought like 14.
No, he was 19 because people treated him like he.
I literally thought he was 12 or 14.
No, he was 19.
Um,
And that might have been my fault because I was playing him too. But I mean, he was a spoiled nope. It makes sense for him to act childish.
as fun as this is, I don't really care. So, Mitch, Mitch, I'd like to ask you your 3 favorite moments in D&D.
All right. Number one has to be just as traumatizing as it was. The scene where I'm pushed into the red mist is what we called it. Red mist was this hallucinogen sort of feeling where you saw it and realize your fears, and then after to the point where you not bear and you passed out and you got paralyzed and you could not speak. And I was in a wheelbarrow and I was petrified and I was confused and felt like I was actually invested in the character and I was playing. I wasn't playing anymore. I was actually the character and I was living this situation. And then, further on in that same situation, one of the players, something even more traumatizing happens, and Sir Dragonborn Phalanx guy, he looks
What
at
did
me
you
and he
do?
starts very aggressively chanting, "What did you do?" at a man who just got his voice
He
back.
didn't chant at you.
He
just
was
said it
chanting
once.
at me.
He didn't chant at you. That
He
would
was
require him to say it more.
He did say it more than once.
No, he said,
He
what
said
did
it.
you do?
Said it at least twice.
That's not chanting.
At least
chanting.
at least twice to a funky
very-
beat.
It's poor chanting. And so you're so that was traumatizing, but it was all favorite moment because you can't experience something like that with anything other than D&D.
Oh yeah, because it's so unique. You know, like the DM writes most of it, but the characters, the players, I'd say write about.
As hard as it is to play, it's 100 times harder as a DM because you
Holy
want something
shit,
to
it is
happen.
so hard to DM.
You want something to happen, but really you have to just go in with just one thing wanting to happen, and then react to the things that the players do.
Yeah.
I'd say the
And I mean, there are some DMs. I think all of us unanimously kind of adopted the style to where just kind of like go with the flow of what your players want. But a lot of people, it's like they've set up a roller coaster, and I kind of, this is the kind of thing that I think I might enjoy playing it a little, like playing it a little more. I don't enjoy, but it's basically where you have this character, you have these interactions with other players, and you do matter, but what happens, and the DM decides what happens, and you're gonna get there no matter what.
I have
So
a
you're
fatal
kind of like
flaw
on a roller
of that.
coaster. What?
It's like you can choose what coaster you're gonna be on, and like, but you're gonna go up the roller coaster, and you're not gonna be able to control where it goes.
Yes.
But you choose which coaster to get on.
Yeah. It's like Critical Role is Matt Mercer DMs that way, where like every encounter that they do, they would have come to that, and that's a big part too, where like the players kind of see where he's going with the narrative, and they go for it. And it also might just be that he's prepared a bunch of shit, and it's just amazing, because Matt Mercer is a genius. He's been DMing for like 20 years now. So he knows what he's doing. But I don't know. I kind of enjoy it. Narratively, it's not as fun, because you don't get to build your characters as much. And they don't have as much of an impact on the world later in the campaign, you know?
Yeah. I have a flaw of doing that.
Of what?
Of just this is gonna happen no matter what. And
We did discuss that.
Yeah,
for me, it's frustrating as a DM to want something to happen, and you're trying to throw clues or little hints out there for your players to grab onto them, and when they don't, it gets frustrating, and then you get subconsciously frustrated at yourself and the players, so you just start DMing really frustrated, and that just, it's not fun for anyone.
Yeah,
we experienced that, but we worked past it, and it worked out anyway.
So my second moment.
I think
this was not a narrative. This was like some. It's cool to play. And it was one of those cool moments when you're like, okay, this is like I'm playing with my friend. This like it was in a campaign called Bretonia.
Oh God.
And
yes.
It was a humongous group of players. It was me, Tanner, and 4 other friends.
Was it 4 other? I thought it was like 6 other.
It was me, you.
You had AJ, Hayden, Keone, Ryan.
AJ, Hayden, Ryan, and Hayden.
Doug, Caroline.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, we're so. Okay, so 5 of us get captured, and okay, there's a second part to this. The first part is all die. We're level, and so there's one standing, and it's Hayden, and because he's a whiz, and all of us we're fighting skeletons. He's like, I'm gonna cast. What did he cast? Did he cast F-Blast? What did he do to resurrect all this stuff?
It was like some resurrecting spell.
He used some he raised the dead, and instead of doing like successfully and having them bless, he raised the dead, and they fought him. So he basically killed himself. But the DM was like, nah, we're like 30 minutes into this campaign. We're not gonna do that. So we get captured, and we somehow finagle our way into like the big bad boss trailer guy, and we're waiting there, and through it was the 5 of us, and there was one person not there from the previous session, and his name was AJ, and his character was named John Jett with 2 N's, and we were about to be executed until behind the doors it bursts open, and the big bad vicious just guy who's mean to us, he bursts into flame, and when he sees pops through, and he's like, I found a lad on the way, and pops through, fucking Jordan. He's killing fools in the hallway. There's people on fire. There's like ash piles in the hole. We're like, oh God.
Yes. I remember that.
I don't even know.
So my third moment.
Your third moment. Please talk slowly this time.
I apologize for my transgressions.
No, it's good. It's just you're clipping out here and there.
So this was also in Plutonian, and this was the first moment of playing D&D. I felt like this could be very fun if I put like actually session into it. And it was me and Tanner talking to each other as our characters. And up until this point, we were just fucking around and just like saying stupid shit and just saying stuff that would get us in trouble. Not like in like real society, but just like with the players we encountered.
Yeah,
And so
not arrested
and then
or anything.
It became just like we were traveling to whatever place we were traveling to, and we made camp for the night. Our characters did. We didn't actually do that because we don't know how to do that. So our characters were having a conversation, and we started to add depth to our characters. We had a conversation about like our families and like what we're trying to get out of this adventure, and it was so like pure.
Yeah, see, that's what I really love about it. One of my favorite parts about it, and that's a lot of people take for granted, is the harder you roleplay, the better experience you'll get. Like the more you get into character, the easier it is to connect, and just the more you'll get out of it in general.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say this earlier, but like DMs usually write 10 to 40% of the story, but like 60 to 90, you know, it varies, percent of the story is written by the players, because that's where the meat is. That's where the interesting, like if somebody's watching this, that's where the interesting stuff comes in, the dialogue they come up with, the character background. That's what you see in Game of Thrones. You don't see the ancient, for example, Game of Thrones. You don't see the ancient lore or anything like that. It's only hinted at when the characters talk about it. And I don't know. I think the players make up a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also part of the fun.
For nobody watching, if you plan on have the interest of playing D&D or playing or being a dungeon master and creating a world for your friends to play, base it around people that you know. Do not think of something. Ooh, this. It's always nice to have ideas. Oh, it would be cool to have it set in like a zombie apocalypse or like Mad Max thing where it's barren wasteland and you're fighting for survival. That's good, but you need to have characters to sustain the life of the story. You cannot have a story just based on a setting that seems cool, because that gets old very, very fast.
Yeah. Like, you can really do it with anything. I think there's a popular game that like you don't need much to play. That's called Honey Heist, where you just play a bunch of bears trying to get into a convention center or wherever, and you have to you have to play as bears. What?
Honey Heist is insane.
Me and Ian talking Honey Heist. So
Huh? What?
There's Honey Heist and Crash Bandas. Crash Bandas is really.
Yeah. So there's really any form, like we're sometimes we play a superhero campaign, and that's very fun. At least to DM. I don't know about playing because I haven't played it yet.
What, Honey Heist?
No. The superhero campaign, Ian.
Oh.
superhero campaign mixed with Honey Heist. Listen, guys.
Oh my god.
Listen.
You're all superpowered bears.
Listen. I think I'm onto something here.
This is our crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Superhero campaign
Well,
is to play. Yeah, having like cool powers, fun. But she used the powers five times. Oh wait, I have to. Well, I have the same powers. Oh, I can't change. So you need something where you're like, oh, my dad was murdered, so I could climb these walls. What? That's so interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah, backstory is everything.
Yeah.
But it looks like that's all the time we have for the...
Yeah, our producer is telling us to wrap it up.
Yeah, our editor is screaming at me right now. Oh, and...
Both of which are Tanner.
Yes.
Fuck you, Gary.
Fuck you, Gary, in the back of my brain. And for those of you who are wondering why the audio may suck, I'm not saying that it does. I'm saying that it might. We're talking over Discord because we're all away from each other, at least by a 4-hour drive in every direction. Because Ian is what? Sorry?
Ian is a dictator, and he makes ultimations.
I can't speak to that. I can't speak to that, but I can say that it was a very bold statement, and he's so brave. Thank you for your service, you future U.S. Army soldier.
Holy shit, that's one of my favorite bits now too. Is saying my buddies in the Marine, like just going to them like, "Thank you for your service" when they haven't done anything yet.
You got me a drink? Sure.
Thank you for your service.
And when they don't, you're like, "Oh wow, dude, I thought you were supposed to serve the American people. You fucking hypocrite." You spit on the Constitution.
Well, we got...
piss on Abraham Lincoln's grave while you're at it.
We gotta wrap up the show, but thanks for tuning in. If you were tuning in, I don't think anybody was, but
oh, you know what? Hang on, before I need to resolve something real quick.
Okay.
Tanner, when you and I started the last episode, we said that we were going to explain why you guys saw Into the Spider-Verse, and we never did.
Oh, so
we gotta do that. I was listening back to it. I was like, oh shit.
Are you wanting me to?
I mean, it's
Mitch.
not really that important, but just do it. Yeah.
I'll explain.
Okay.
So oh,
There's some
Actually,
backstory to
Tanner,
this.
do it because Mitch, your mic is absolutely.
yeah. I'm sorry, Mitch, but we gotta find a better way to talk to you. Maybe. But we'll do that for the next episode.
It's not your fault. It's just like a problem with mic or something.
It's just that you suck.
It's just that you're a shitty person.
It's just that we fucking hate you. No. Mitch is planning to go see Into the Spider-Verse, right? And he's like buying tickets at this movie theater that's close to us. And Mitch just sent a gif of Daenerys Targaryen saying, "Take off your clothes," sipping a goblet, and it has no context whatsoever, but that's exactly why it's the funniest thing. But Mitch is planning to see Into the Spider-Verse, and he invites me. He invites Ava, who's a friend of ours, but he doesn't invite Ian because he had a conversation with Ian where Ian mentioned that he's not that into superhero movies. And I get to the movie theater, and it's just me, like, Mitch and Ava. I didn't know Ava was going to be there until I, like, saw her, like, at the door. Which is, like, surprise. I didn't know other people were going. I thought it was just, a private date with him and I. But I guess, running all over me,
Hey,
leading
shut up.
me on.
You're the only one here with
So we're at the movie, and then...
Side note, Ava's a fucking horrible person to go see movies with.
Yeah.
I apologize to the people sitting next to her. If you ever want this,
Oh my god.
I should text you guys. She was talked through like every other scene, and she was dancing to every that came on, and she was like aggressive dancing, like moving in her seats.
Yeah, she was
and
yaw-yeeting.
When
all
stuff
of it.
would have been. I apologize to the people next to us. Continue, Tanner.
No, oh my god, Ava's embarrassing. But, he didn't. I'm talking to Mitch like before the credits, or before the previews roll, the trailers, and Mitch is like, Ian was gonna come or something like that, and I was like, why didn't he? Mitch was like, I didn't invite him, and I was like, I was like, why didn't you invite Ian? And he was like, hold on, I'm not done yet. I was like, why didn't you invite Ian? And Mitch was like, oh, he hates superhero movies. And I was like, did you ask him? He's like, no.
I don't want to make my friends do something he hates.
You could ask him.
I later said and clarified then that Into the Spider-Verse isn't really a superhero movie.
What is that?
It is. Spider-Man's a superhero.
I know, but it's
a superhero.
Okay. Listen, no, like genuine. It's it's different. You can't deny that it's different. In the other superhero movies,
different kind of superhero movie.
It's animated. I mean, I don't think it's.
Like
I find it really odd that you said before, but and all of a sudden, you're just like, what are you talking about? It is a superhero.
Are you talking to me?
No, well, both of you.
It definitely is a superhero movie, but like, do you mean like it's better?
Very firm on this belief it is a superhero movie.
It's fucking different. You know it's different. It's
I
different.
know
from
it's
other-
different, but it's a superhero movie that's different from the others.
Okay, I guess I'm just wrong then.
Listen, it's better than any superhero movie I think I've ever seen. Besides, there are a few exceptions, but it's up there.
And if you would explain to us how it's different, you could get a better understanding of where you're coming from.
It's different because it's a comedy, for one thing.
Ant-Man.
It's not a fucking, like...
Ant-Man.
It's not a... realistic film.
Oh my god.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy, apparently.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty. I'd say it's in the same vein as The Dark Knight. Or God, The Pitiful
okay,
Man.
That's the main thing though. Like moving on from that, it's a comedy, and it's animated, and just in general, Miles Morales and the whole concept of the Spider-Verse is different than the rest of them.
Yeah, it's a concept we've never seen before. I agree with that. But the point of the story is Mitch just didn't invite Ian, and
he didn't invite me because he doesn't actually like me. That's why.
He drove a giant fucking stake through our friendships, and now we're all gonna.
We will never be the same.
Never again. You're not wrong. All right. Well, that's all the time.
Words are being used against me. I will text from now on.
It's better than hearing your mic clip over and over again. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm fucking gonna eat you.
But since that's all the time we have, we don't have to hear it ever again. Do we have any final statements from anybody on this podcast? Not that I care, but
I have one.
Okay.
D&D is cool. I don't care what you say. Yeah, it's fucking geeky. But as soon as you embrace the geekiness and you just decide, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to set my pride aside, I'm going to have fun today, then it all comes together for you.
Yeah, but only a fucking nerd would do that.
Yeah. Embrace the nerdiness. If you are even just curious at all, there are probably games at
Mitch just typed a word. Listen, embrace the geekiness, ladies and gentlemen. And non-binary. And
if even remotely interested at all, there are probably games like going on at your local just nerd shop. Find a group of friends, sit down, play it, check out the books. There are PDFs online. Have a good time with it.
Yeah.
That is my statement.
I agree with that. It's really, yeah. Mitch, any lasting...
Mitch typed in the chat. I'm going to expose him real quick. He said find some friends in
Not find some friends for the game. Find some friends...
general.
like, ever.
If you're going to game stores looking for friends, just end your life.
What the
Oh,
okay, don't
Mitch,
do that.
okay.
First of all, we are not promoting that.
I'm not promoting it. I don't care what you say on the podcast, but also I don't condone it, and I don't align myself with that statement.
There's nobody listening to this, but let's face it, people have listened to it.
No.
I've literally sent the link to a lot of my friends.
No.
Wow.
Shut
I know,
up.
It's of a fucking trick.
That's not true. They didn't click it. I doubt it.
You're probably right.
Just like you guys click on my video.
Tickle.
You too.
That's all the time we have.
Avid supporters.
God, that's all the time we have. Not that I care, but we have to finish the podcast.
Producer does.
D&D is pretty fun. Find somebody to play with. If you want to play in secret, just put a hood on and then
Go to the University of Houston.
Go to. Yeah. Yeah. Find Ian. He just gave you his general address. You can find him. Perhaps even
You'll know
send him death threats if you'd like. That's no laughing matter, but at the same time, when it happens to Ian because of a podcast that we started as a meme, I think it might be the funniest thing in the world. Of course, as long as it's not followed through. Thank you for tuning in. Nobody at all. The podcast is over now.